Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smart Homes, Save Money and Save the World. My name is Colleen, and I'm the Community Organizer for Sustainable Contra Costa. We are presenting this event in partnership with MCE, and we're delighted that you've chosen to spend your Wednesday evening with us. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support in this time. We're really excited to welcome both Tina Neuhausel, the co-founder and president of Sustainable Contra Costa, as well as Jennifer Green and Mariella Herrick from MCE. MCE will be sharing programs that you can take advantage of in addition to your local energy service. So we're really excited to have them tonight. They are a regular Sustainable Contra Costa supporter, and we appreciate you coming to learn with us. So without any further waiting, let's go ahead and get started with Smart Homes. Tina, please take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I am Tina Neuhausel with Sustainable Contra Costa. So before I start, I just want to make sure that you can see my screen. And what do you see, Colleen, at the upper right-hand corner?
I see your picture just to the right of your slides. It's not in the corner, but it's definitely visible for everyone.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not blocking the slides. Okay, great. Well, I'm excited to be here. This is an interesting time. I like connecting people with everybody online. I think it's a great way for us to stay connected. And I want to share with you about my experiences with doing a home energy upgrade. This is my home that you're looking at on the slide. We just put a new roof on. This is a metal roof that hopefully will last at least 50 years. And it normally has solar panels on there, but I'm waiting for the solar company to come put those on back up. But it doesn't matter anyway, because I have 100% renewable energy through the Deep Green program with MCE. So I don't have to worry about feeling guilty about not having my panels up too much. So let's see, I am the president and co-founder of Sustainable Contra Costa. We started in 2008, and we are a community of citizens and educators, activists, all kinds of businesses and organizations that work together for ecologically sustainable, economically vibrant, and socially just communities for all. Since we started, we've taught thousands of people to save energy and water, reduce their waste, and just leave a better footprint on the earth. So we try to inspire people and share and educate. All right, let's get my slides to move here. All right, I think that worked. So let's see, I already talked about my picture there. So why is this important, what we're doing here tonight? The ways that our homes are designed and renovated and maintained have a big impact on our health and our comfort, our quality of life, especially for our children as far as health goes. Saving water and energy reduces your bills, of course, and most people are concerned about climate change and want to do everything they can to lighten their footprint on the earth, but they're not quite sure where to start. Personally, I feel that we're extremely lucky to live in this beautiful place, and I want to do everything I can to leave a good world for my kids and my nieces and nephews and all of our children, and so that they can have a good and safe and healthy world to live in the future. So what you may not know is that 40% of US greenhouse gas emissions come from 5 basic household activities that we do every day. So that's how we heat our homes, our electricity, how we get around, the food choices that we make, and our waste stream. So I think it's really surprising that that 40% of emissions come from the things that we can really do something about. And the good news is that we have solutions for all these things. Each one of us can take action right now to not only significantly lower our impact on the earth, but also save money, improve our health, and create local jobs. So let's talk about making our homes water smart first. Water is one of our most precious resources on Earth. It's a finite resource. We literally can't live without it. So when we turn on that tap, where does our water come from? It comes from our biggest reservoir we have is the Sierra snowpack, which lasts all the way through spring. And it flows down rivers like the Stanislaus and the Macalumni River to our watersheds. If you have Contra Costa Water District, it comes down into the Delta, a meandering group of waterways that lead into the Contra Costa Canal. And if you have East Bay mud, it comes from other Sierra watersheds and goes into one of 5 local, or into the 5 Bay Area reservoirs. And then it goes through our high-tech treatment plants and into our homes. So this slide on the left is, the white is snow. So this is what the snowpack looked like in 2013. We had a lot of snow that year. But on the right side, that's how poor the snowpack was just 1 year later. So that means that in 2013, we had a really big reservoir, if you think about the previous slide. And the very next year, we had a very small reservoir. And what happens when that happens a couple of years in a row is when we get into a pretty serious drought. So climate change is absolutely going to have an effect on our snowpack in the long run. Obviously, if we have smaller and smaller snowpacks, we have less and less water. So why improve the water efficiency at our homes? Obviously to reduce our bills, that would be nice. And to, when you save water, the water stays in the delta and it's there for those important ecosystems that rely on the water. So it's there for the fish. Also, if you make your house more energy efficient, you drought proof your home. When the water agencies need to ask us to cut back, they won't be asking people that have already cut back a lot. It used to be, now some people might say, oh no, you know, they might remember back when, it's been a while, but they used to ask everybody, like, cut across the board 20%. Everyone cut their water by 20%. They don't do that anymore. They realize that after so many years of drought and people have really become more energy efficient, they are focusing on people that are high water users when they're asking people to cut back. So how much water do we use at home? Well, average indoors, we use more than 120 gallons a day, but efficient homes can use half of that. And outdoors, we, for homes that have nicely landscaped yards, it can range from 100 to 500 gallons a day, but with efficient irrigation practice, I know you can't see. All right, sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, I might have to ask you, Colleen, to go ahead and share the slides, and why don't we do that? I'm not having a good internet connection.
Of course.
Okay. So I think I'm on page 12.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody. The joys of Zoom online meetings. I ran into somebody the other day. They said, "What's Zoom? I've never heard of that before." You mean everybody can get on the meeting at the same time? It's amazing how we're all doing different things and coming from different perspectives and leading different lives. Okay, so go back one slide. All right, so this slide gives us kind of a feel for where our water goes. What you see on the left, landscape is going to be the key one, but also shower heads, clothes washers, and toilets are really big ones. So I'm going to focus on, next slide, the big three, which are clothes washers, toilets, and shower heads. So older style top load washers use up to 45 gallons per load compared to the new washers that only use about 13 to 23 gallons a load. They also clean the clothes better, and you don't need to put the clothes in the dryer as long, so you get extra efficiency measures that way. If you want to get a new washer, you want to look for the Energy Star label. You will save about 9,000 gallons of water a year and up to $200 in energy costs. Look for the EnergyStar.gov label. Right, next slide. So let's talk toilets. So a little in gallons to flush one time. And then the 80s, they improved to 3.5 gallons. And in the 90s, it went to 1.6 gallons, but something went really wrong in the 90s. And they weren't built well. So a lot of people had a double floor, made much better now, and high 1.28 gallons of flush. Next slide. So if you want to get a high efficiency toilet, you want to get one that's been third party tested. So this is a good website. It's called maptesting.com. I would recommend going there before you making a choice. I've heard Toto is a good brand. You want to check your toilet for leaks now and then. So test the flapper, that's that little blue thing at the bottom, and replace it as needed. You want to make sure you get one that fits the right make and model. They're not all the same for your toilet. Check the overflow tube to make sure the water, you want the water to be about 1 inch below the top of the water tube. And you want to, I already said, replace the flapper with a proper model. One thing about toilet leaks is you won't see it. It's not like it's running out onto the floor. So if you don't check for leaks, you can put those little dye tabs in. The water district gives those away all the time, or you can put a drop of food coloring in the tank. If you don't check for it and you don't know, it's just going down the drain. It's not like you're gonna see it on the floor. So shower heads are the third biggest user. Unless you have teenagers, they might be the first. The water district recommends getting a shower head that's about 1.7 to 2 gallons a minute. You could go lower than that, but you're not gonna have a good quality shower. Everyone needs a good shower, right? We like our showers. Enjoy your shower. Take shorter showers, but just ones that use less water. You can also do those little, put a little shut-off valve at the bottom, at the back of the shower head, and sort of turn it off when you're not using it. My husband installed one that actually has one of those, and he put the diverter into a drip system so that when we're heating up the water, we push the button and it's putting that cold water as it's heating into a pressurized drip system to water the plants outside our bathroom wall. And Contra Costa Water District has some things you can get, shower heads for free that they give away, and some bags to test your flow. This is just a quick shot, just a reminder that half of our water use is for outdoors. So let's talk about how we can save water there. So number one, here are the top 5 things you can do. Properly setting your irrigation timer. I'm gonna go through that in detail. I think it's a really important one. If you have a timer and you don't know how to set it, read the instructions. It's worth finding out. If your gardener sets the timer and you have a high water bill, that's kind of like handing your gardener a blank check and saying, here, you fill it out and send it in for me. So it's beneficial financially to set it properly. Next slide. So like I said, I think this is important. So I want to talk about a couple of ways you want to think about setting your timer: days per week, cycle and soak, and time of day. Generally, you can water a lawn 3 times a week, and it can be really nice and green. If you're watering a lawn 5 to 6 times a week, you are overwatering. The second thing is a method called cycle and soak. So let's say you water the lawn for 15 minutes. What happens, especially with our clay soil here, is it runs off pretty quickly. It starts to run off down hills or into the paver or concrete or pathways. If you cycle a soak, instead of doing one 15-minute cycle, you do 5-minute cycle, and then an hour later 5 minutes, and an hour later you do another 5 minutes. You're going to get more water to your lawn by doing it that way. You could probably even get more water to your lawn if you're just doing 3 cycles of 4 minutes. Thirdly is time of day. So if you water in the morning, obviously you want to water early or late in the evening, not in the heat of the day. And Contra Costa Water District has a great watering schedule that you can get online. And also they have rebates for new timers. I have a timer that's, I think it's called Rain Machine, but it really changed my life, and it really saved my plants because I used to underwater trying to be so water efficient. But what it does is it knows the weather. So, you know, it just stops watering when you don't need to water, and it waters more when it's really hot out. So they work really great. Next slide. Overwatering shrubs is something that a lot of people do. They have shrubs like these that are pretty hardy, and they're watering them like 4 days a week. But established water-wise shrubs really only need water once a week. So the key is to do that cycle and soak again, and to give them a nice deep watering. Things to look for, every now and again, check your sprinklers, fix and replace any broken ones. Obviously, if you see misting, it means that the pressure is too high. You can install a pressure regulator, which would really help. I would talk to an irrigation person about that, or go to a good irrigation supply. There's a Ewing Irrigation nearby, and Urban Farmer store is really good in Richmond too. You want to get to more droplets on the plants than into the air. Slide. Oh, this is a good one. So this is my house. This is this week. It was very timely. So I was kind of excited to show pictures. So I walked outside a few days ago and saw the one on the left. My drip line had just, you know, popped out and just spraying water everywhere, which means I don't need that water, and it was keeping water from going to where it should be going. Pretty easy to fix just by looking out for it. And then the one on the right, can you see my screen all the way on the right? Because on my screen, I have something covering. I'm seeing you all. Okay, that's better. My neighbor was nice enough to call me yesterday morning and say, oh, there's a leak at your water main. So I called East Bay Mud, and they came out an hour and a half later and fixed it, thankfully. Next slide. The one on the left here is a weeping valve. That's not a valve that's sad. It's a, it probably means there's a problem with if it's always oozing out a little bit, it probably means that it's the valve and not the sprinkler itself. It's more at the irrigation box. So it's something, could have a little pebble in it or a rip in it, and it's something that needs to be repaired. I would call an irrigation person for that. I've heard that Rainbow and Toro are good sprinkler brands. And I've also heard that it's not a good idea to buy sprinklers at big box stores because they're not good quality. On the right, actually go back real quick. We have a picture of a blocked sprinkler. And so the day before you're gonna mow your lawn, or when it's at its longest, if you see anything like that, you can just, you can do a couple things. You can either dig down and raise that head up, or like weed whack around the lawn, around the sprinkler head, and that will help that. Slide. So the next thing you can do is replace your thirsty lawn with a beautiful water-wise landscape. Lawns are the biggest outdoor water user for many homes. This person on the left, she had, her lawn is on a hillside and it was hard to water because the water would run off into the street. Like she wasn't doing that cycle and soak method like I mentioned earlier. She hired a designer, and the Contra Costa Water District has a great program for that. They have recommended designers. They also have all kinds of design ideas online. They have a beautiful website for that. You can also, there's also books. East Bay Mud has a great book called Plants for Summer Dry Climates, Mediterranean, but it's East Bay's book, Plants for Summer Dry Climates. I got a lot of ideas out of that for my yard. And also she got a rebate from the water district. She got $1,000 to replace her lawn. You can get $1 per square foot from Contra Costa Water District and 75 cents a square foot from East Bay Mud. But be sure if you're gonna do this, don't start your project until you contact the water district because they need to check it out and give you the go ahead before you get going. And I'm happy, by the way, to answer some questions at the end of this, which this water section will be done shortly. And if anyone has any questions, you can just write it in the chat. So the next slide is my favorite thing to talk about. I tell everybody about this. And have you ever heard of sheet mulching? So people think they have to, you know, dig up their lawn and, you know, take everything out and bring in topsoil and plant. But really the easiest and most affordable way to do it is to just get a whole bunch of cardboard from Costco or bike shops, appliance shops, everywhere you can. Costco is great because they have all those flat sheets of cardboard in between literally every stack of thing, every pallet in there. And you layer you mow the weeds or the lawn down really short, and then you put the cardboard out so that it overlaps by like 6 to 8 inches on everywhere, so no light gets through. If you want to plant at that point, you would dig a hole in the cardboard and, you know, maybe put some compost in and plant your plants, and then put your drip system on top of the cardboard. Water the cardboard really well. You don't need to stake it down or anything, but just put a lot of mulch, like at least 4 inches of mulch on top. And this is our backyard. I convinced my husband to help me. Actually, he didn't want to, but I asked for it for Mother's Day, and I had a friend come help, and my kids actually helped do this. And we didn't have, it was weeds everywhere and like just grass and weeds everywhere. And we didn't have any weeds come through for about 3 years. And then every so often, every few years in areas that need it, we'll redo it. Do a little bit more, but it totally works great. There's a great video on this on the Stop Wastes website. The video is called Convert Your Lawn by Sheet Mulching, and it's a simple, quick video. Next slide. So where do I start? Find the irrigation timer, figure out how to work it, and set it according to the Contra Costa watering schedule if you want to follow that, or better yet, get one of those smart ones that just knows what kind of plants they are and how to water it. That's my way to go. And both Contra Costa Water District and East Bay Mud offer free personalized water audits by phone now. So they have, and they have a do-it-yourself water audit online that you can do first. Next slide. Okay, so I think this is a good time to take any questions about water, if anybody has anything or wants to chime in. I think I see.
If you're able to and comfortable with it, you're also welcome to show your video. We'd love to see you, and at numerous points we'll have options for discussion.
Okay, I think where we get, oh, there we go.
Okay, let's keep going. So before we have the next section with Tina, we have a quick poll for you. We have A quick question to assess what you know about your household's total energy. So a poll will appear upon the screen. And the poll is, which accounts for most of your household's total energy costs? Lighting, water heating, heating and cooling, or leaks? So please respond now.
Right. Do you want me to give the answer?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, the correct answer, as 73% of people said heating and cooling, that's the correct answer. So on that note, we can talk about that a little bit more here. Let's switch to energy efficiency and how we can improve the health and comfort of our homes. I'm going to talk about the most common things to look for and the local programs that we have available to make improvements. We'll touch on the BayRen program and MCE's residential programs. All right, I think we can go back one slide, Colleen. Thanks. So these are the most common problems in our homes. Most people don't realize how much having an energy efficient home makes an impact on, affects our comfort, like cold and drafty rooms in the winter and hot rooms in the summer. We used to give these workshops a lot. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say things like, oh, I can't even sleep at, night because upstairs because it's so hot. And before we did our energy upgrade, we had a really old big slider that just always let a lot of cold air in, and it was really breezy. Okay, I think we can move on. So these issues also impact our health. Most people don't know that air quality is 2 to 5 times worse than indoor air quality is 2 to 5 times more worse than outdoor air quality. We're usually focused on the outdoor air quality, but people don't realize when it comes to asthma and other health issues that it's really our homes that we should be looking at even more. It's great that the air quality has improved. We've seen all these pictures with less cars on the road, but people were spending most of our times indoors, and a lot of us are spending a lot more time in our homes. 90% of our time is spent inside buildings, and that was before the pandemic. If they're not built correctly, that can have a big impact on our health. This picture here is my niece and nephew. They are more susceptible to the negative impacts of pollution because they breathe a lot faster than we do, and of course their immune system isn't as strong as an adult. Next slide. So especially with kids, I think, I like to tell people about some of the things that we know about indoor air quality. So these are the 3 things that are the biggest contributors, or there are 3 things that are the biggest contributors of how comfortable our homes feel, our health, and our energy bills. And the first one to look at is air leakage. If you added up all the hotels, if you added up all the holes in the average home, the leaks in your home, they would be about the size of a hula hoop. So that's how much, of your hot air in the winter when you're trying to heat the home is just escaping out leaks. If you were to hold an infrared camera up to the ceiling, it might look like Swiss cheese and, with the red and spots everywhere. And that's because the warm air circulating through the house in the winter is escaping through places like can lights and outlets, electrical and plumbing penetrations and gaps around windows. An important thing to do is seal, air seal. So on the right, that's a picture of using sort of foam to seal around air gaps. Energy efficiency contractors, which we'll talk briefly about later, will go in and look for air gaps and seal them up for you. Slide. The second most important thing to look at for energy efficiency and comfort of your home is insulation. It's like a blanket for your house that keeps the warm air inside and hot air from coming in the summer. If you see insulation like the one on the left, that's not doing you much good. It's one of the biggest reasons why we feel hot or cold in our rooms. You want your attic space to look more like the one on the right. Well, the one in the middle doesn't even have any insulation. They might have at some point, but after work and stuff. Is that mine? That might be my old. No, it's not. Some of these pictures are mine, so I have to. The one on the right is what you want it to look like freshly fallen snow. The more, the better. Next slide. Colleen, next slide. Am I frozen or is she frozen?
I think she's frozen.
Yeah.
This is not me this time.
You should see Neuhausel.
There you go, thank you. So this is our house. We used spray-in foam. The picture on the right is the ceiling, and it's a vaulted ceiling, so you can't really put insulation up there easily. So we sprayed it in, which is ultra efficient. And on the left, the orange, basically what you'll see is that orange stuff is foam, and that's all through any little gaps that they found before we put the sheetrock on, we sealed it with foam. Next slide. So this is a comparison. The picture on the left was an area that we did later. So we put what's called bat insulation, and the rest of it, we did this blown in insulation. I actually did a home energy upgrade a long time ago, like 10 years ago, and we have a 1948 house, and the walls to the exterior walls weren't even insulated. So what they did was they drilled holes in the plaster and blew this blown in insulation, which is basically old newspaper and stuff, cellulose, and they blew it in the walls. So even if you don't want to start fresh, you can still do that. But we were doing a renovation of our kitchen recently, so we had to take the walls off. Anyway, these are all new walls. So what they did was they put these sort of nets over, and I want to share with you that the sheetrocker came over and he looked at this because it sort of looks like it bows out. It's really full. And he was like, what in the world? He's been doing this a really long time. He's wonderful. We love him. He does a beautiful job, but he had never seen this before. So he was all upset. This isn't going to work at all. But then I called my energy efficiency contractor, who was extremely calm. And he said, I hear this a lot. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. He put the sheetrock up, and a couple of the screws were popping out. And again, the sheetrocker called me. He said, this is all ruined. It's not going to work. And so I panicked. I called the energy efficiency guy again. He didn't panic. It was Mason BPP, or Building Performance Professionals, is who we use to do our energy efficiency work. And sure enough, the only reason that the screws were coming out is because the sheetrocker forgot to cut out the holes for some of the little outlet things behind it, so it was sticking out. And once he fixed that, it was perfect, and we've never had any problems. It's really seals great. All right, next slide. And obviously that's going to be a lot more tight and efficient than the cutout insulation that's going to miss a lot of spaces. So the third important thing to address is leaky and even dirty ducts. Duct tape is good for everything but sealing ducts. So on the left, you'll see that duct tape has sort of started to come off. As soon as it gets hot or cold, this is what happens. It loses its adhesiveness. And according to the building code, you're not even supposed to use duct tape. You're supposed to use something called mastic. It's a paste that you use to glue the duct seams together. So expansion and contraction doesn't cause the joint to fail. Next slide. And finally, when it comes to healthy indoor air ventilation is a big one. I actually not finally, there's I think one more slide. Mold needs 3 things: organic surfaces, water, and lack of air movement. So we just want to make sure that we have a well-ventilated rooms. And the picture on the right is somebody pulled their couch out and there's all this mold behind it. You wouldn't think mold hiding behind couches, but you know, everything that we do, we breathe, you know, water into the air all the time. So we need good ventilation. Next slide. And surprisingly, this is new to me. I didn't realize, but I've learned recently statistics and studies that children who live in homes with a gas stove are 42% more likely to have asthma. So I also have solar and 100% renewable with MCE. So in my new kitchen, which is on the right, that's my daughter, we have an induction stove, which I'm really excited about. It heats very fast, and it's powered by 100% renewable energy. Next slide. So I want to talk real quick, and then I'll turn it over to our MCE after this, to Jennifer and Mariella. But BayRen is a collaboration between the 9 Bay Area counties, and it offers energy saving programs with funding from the Public Utilities Commission. So when you look at your energy bill, you'll see a public goods charge, and that goes to the state to run programs like these. BayRen provides significant rebates for people in all of these counties for doing energy efficiency upgrades in single family homes. And also they have other programs for multi-family residents and businesses as well. Even if you're not, if you happen to be listening to this and you're not in the Bay Area, the state provides these types of programs, or your local utility will provide similar types of programs. So you can, next slide, you can receive thousands of dollars in rebates through the BayRen program that bring comfort, energy efficiency, or energy savings and healthy indoor air quality to your home. I'm not gonna go into, well, I'm gonna show you a couple of examples, but the information is all at bayrenresidential.org. Slide. So some of the examples of the rebates, you can get rebates for smart thermostats, duct sealing, insulation. Next slide. Furnaces, water heat pumps. Next slide. And yeah, that's a big savings. All right, we can go on to the next slide. As you can see, they offer a lot of different rebates. So just go to the website. And also we have a BayRen workshop coming up next Wednesday at the same time with BayRen professionals and building science professionals that will help you and walk you through and tell you details about this program. So if you're interested, it's free. We'll provide information at the end. Okay, next slide. All right, also the BayRen program requires that homeowners use participating contractors. The reason is we want contractors that are working in your home to be fully trained in the whole house approach, as well as the program requirements so that the customers can receive the best rebate and increased performance. They ensure that the contractors are licensed and have the necessary permits to do the work. They also will help you will file the paperwork, do the necessary paperwork for you, which is great. All right, next. I think I am finished with my part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. So at this time, I'd love to welcome some representatives from MCE. We have Mariella Herrick, the Community Development Manager, Jennifer Green of the Customer Programs team, and we also have Justin Marquez, the Community Equity Specialist, who may share with us as well. Please go ahead with your presentation.
Yeah, could you go back one slide?
Of course.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Mariella Herrick. I am your Community Development Manager for Contra Costa County with MCE. MCE is a local not-for-profit electricity provider, and today I'll give you an overview of MCE, and then my colleague Jennifer is going to share with you all some important information about our customer programs. Next slide. So for those of you that don't know, MCE's mission is to address climate change by reducing energy-related greenhouse gas emissions with renewable energy and energy efficiency at cost-competitive rates, while also offering economic and workforce benefits that ultimately create more equitable communities. Next slide. So this was possible because of the passing of Assembly Bill 117 in 2002, which really set the framework for MCE to be formed in 2008. Our service was originally launched in 2010 in Marin, and our first Contra Costa city to join MCE was the city of Richmond. By 2018, the majority of Contra Costa cities joined MCE. Today, we're servicing around 480,000 customer accounts, and that's approximately 1 million people. Next slide. So who really is MCE? On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see a map of the counties and cities that we provide. This information is also available on our website, but our organization is comprised of around 65 staff members, again, servicing the 480,000 accounts. Most recently, Solano County joined as our newest member and started service with us in the spring of 2020. And then our newest Contra Costa city that will be joining us in the spring of 2021 is Pleasant Hill. Next slide, please. So as a local not-for-profit electricity provider, we are a community choice aggregation model, offering our community member organizations a choice in how they get their energy. So for 10 years ago, MCE was the first program of this type. Today, we've seen a tremendous growth in CCAs across the state. There are 25 CCAs today who are serving around 10 million customers. Next slide. So one common question we get is, how do you ensure local control? So for MCE, that means that our board ensures local control and has a strong voice for our customers. We are regulated by both the state and our board. And what that means for MCE's board is that MCE's board has the authority to allocate MCE ratepayer funding to local projects and programs in the local jurisdictions for which we provide power for, as well as to determine any renewable and greenhouse gas free electricity content, which for ours is above the current state mandates. Rates are also set by the MCE board in several public meetings where the public is able to comment and express their opinions. Next slide, please. So as a not-for-profit public agency, we don't have any shareholders. This means that any revenue we get, we can put it back into our local economies. This differentiates us from investor-owned utility companies where they have to have regular profits for the investors. Again, our goal and part of our mission is to put money back into the local communities. Next slide, please. So how does this all kind of come together and work? So once a customer joins MCE, MCE takes over the role of purchasing electric generation on that customer's behalf, providing more energy from clean and renewable power sources. And then PG&E will continue to deliver the electricity from the grid through their poles, wires, and into their homes. Also, PG&E will continue to address service outages, maintain the wires, and send you your bill, which will include MCE's generation service charge. The end result ultimately is that you get to enjoy the same reliable electric service, and now you have access to more renewable energy choices. And I think, Colleen, you're going to launch a poll right now. Yeah, so you all should get a pop-up window.
That's correct. So I'm going to launch a poll right now to assess which energy service providers are represented in this event. So please respond with who your energy service provider is. If you don't know, just choose the fourth option. So we have the options of PG&E, PG&E and MCE, I am outside the PG&E service area, or I don't know. Luckily, Mariella is here to explain that, so she will give us some clarity on that. So if you have not voted and you would like to, feel free to. And here are our results.
Okay, so it looks like 50% of you all say PG&E, a few of you say PG&E and MCE, and then some of you say help, I don't know. This is one of the most common questions we get, so I'm going to answer it by showing you a sample bill. Next slide, please. So on the screen right now, we have a sample bill that you would receive from PG&E before joining MCE. As you can see, there's an electric service charge of $74.82. With MCE, this bill is going to look exactly the same. It's going to come in the same, sorry, I misspoke. It's going to come in the same format as your PG&E bill, but it's going to look different with one key thing. MCE electric generation charges will be separated from the electricity delivery charge. So this new line item for MCE electric generation charges is because MCE is supplying the electricity to your home. Notice that this change does not increase the cost, however, provides more transparency in the bill. So before, the bill was $74.82 for the charge for electricity generation and delivery in one line item. However, after doing some quick math, if you add $34.94, $39.38 and $34.94, you'll see that the number is the same to $74.82. If you all ever have any questions on how to read your bill, please take a look at our website or feel free to contact us and we would be happy to walk you through it. Next slide, please. So you have a couple of service options with MCE. Our standard customer offering is 60% renewable, mainly through solar and wind generation sources in California and the Pacific Northwest. Customers also have the choice to opt up to 100% renewable deep green, which Tina brought up that she had that in her home. And that option comes from 50% solar and 50% wind, which is California-based generation. Next slide, please. And then any discount program that customers were on with PG&E remain the same and unchanged when they join MCE. So CARE, FARA, Medical Baseline, or PG&E employee discount programs will remain exactly the same. So next slide, I will turn it over to my colleague, Jennifer, who now will talk about our residential programs.
Thanks, Mariela, and thank you so much to everybody for sticking with us in the evening. I know you have other things to do, so really appreciate your taking some time to talk with us. I noticed a couple of chats from some of the participants who happen to be MCE staff members saying that they are EBCE customers, which is the East Bay equivalent of what MCE is. So you may be wondering, you know, is EBCE or Peninsula Clean Energy or San Francisco program the same? They are all community choice aggregators, and they offer the same types of programs and services that we do at MCE. So thank you for those chats, Justin and Martin. So my name is Jennifer Green. I'm manager of the residential energy efficiency programs at MCE. We have a number of programs that we're currently offering, with a couple that have experienced a little bit of change due to the COVID pandemic. So I just wanted to talk to what we're currently offering. Please keep in mind that in 2021, these offerings are going to be expanded, and we're going to offer even more to our customers. So this is just a snapshot of how we use our revenue to help serve the mission, which is to help all of our customers get reliable energy efficiency and renewable electricity. So next slide, please. First, I'll talk about the Multifamily Energy Savings Program. The Multifamily Energy Savings Program, or MFES, we refer to it sometimes, provides complimentary walkthrough energy assessments, although not right now, but very soon when people are allowed to go back and do energy assessments in home, we'll be offering that. We provide technical assistance to identify energy and water saving opportunities at multifamily properties. And as Tina spoke about, water and energy issues are linked a lot of times to home performance. And so when a technical expert does an assessment of your home at no cost, they can identify where the problem areas are. To help implement these energy upgrades, the program provides cash rebates, assists with contractor bid solicitation, and educates and trains operations and maintenance staff. As you can see here, this program is available in all of MCE's territory, which Mariela introduced, and again is also on our website, and you can look on your bill to see if you're an MCE customer. It's eligible for any multifamily property with 4 or more units. The customers that we're serving here are multifamily property owners and their tenants. So we provide in-unit incentives, as well as complementing the Bay Rent program that provides incentives for common areas. Next slide. The next program I want to talk about is we call it our LIFT program, which stands for Low Income Families and Tenants. It provides significant incentives up to $1,200 per unit to low income property owners to upgrade their homes and provide home health and safety upgrades if qualified. And I'll talk a little bit about those. But you can be qualified for $1,200 per unit in addition to the rebates that are offered by the one that I just introduced. This program applies only to residents that are at or below 200% of federal poverty guidelines. It is low cost and high efficiency electric heating and cooling appliances, and other energy efficiency upgrades. And like I mentioned just previously, we work hand in glove with Bay Rent. So if you are not in an MCE territory but want to participate in this type of program, we can connect you with Bay Rent. We provide start to finish technical assistance for this program. So any questions that you have, we have experts that can answer them as far as the application process, any of the technologies that we're installing, codes, permit applications, all of it. So it's a great program. Next slide, please. Here we have our residential direct install program. Now this started out as a more comprehensive in-home kind of program where we would come in and do an assessment, determine what kind of upgrades are needed in the home and what we can cover. Since COVID hit, we have not been able to go in and do in-home assessments. So what we're offering now is for single and multifamily renters and owners is a no-cost virtual assessment. We've pivoted to provide this for a quick assessment with a technical expert and you both on a Zoom meeting, much like this. If you qualify for our direct install virtual assessment and installation gift box, you may also qualify for the previously mentioned programs, and we will definitely direct you to that. But this program, while it is directed towards moderate income customers, it is available for all customers in MCE territory. And you can get the no-cost virtual assessment, no-cost measured delivery, and there's a photo of the technologies that are included in the kits. You can receive a smart thermostat, faucet aerators, and low-flow shower heads. We also are with you on the virtually to help you install those measures, and then provide quality assurance. So we'll check with you to make sure that everything's working correctly. And next slide. Along with the LIFT program, which is for the low-income families and tenants, we offer our MCE Healthy Homes program. So not only are we providing incentives for energy efficiency upgrades, but we look at the home to see, excuse me, what health and safety issues are there in your home? Are there mold and mildew issues? Are there trip and fall potential? We go through and offer incentives of whatever's needed to make the home more safe. And so when you apply for the LIFT program, you're automatically going to hear about the MCE Healthy Homes. Currently, this program is only offered for our customers that are in Marin County, but we just got word that Contra Costa is going to be offering some of similar programs that are focused on asthma remediation. Next slide, please. Oops, that. And then we have our single family and multi-family income qualified solar rebates. So this is in addition to incentives that you would receive through your local gas, or like your investor-owned utility like PG&E. We offer $900 in addition to what you would receive from the PG&E program for folks who earn minimum of 80% of the county's AMI. For the multifamily program, you can see here we offer between 78 cents and $1.50 per watt for income qualified multifamily dwellings. We've helped fund over 264 installations in Contra Costa to date, and been able to install 624 kilowatts of new solar on single family Contra Costa homes, and that's growing. Next slide. That's it for us. If you have any chats, we're happy to go through that now, but for sure give either Mariella or I or both of us an email inquiry if you want to know anything else about what we're offering and what we're going to be offering next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support and you being here tonight. So finally, it's time to get on to our final topic, and that is the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge. So again, my name is Colleen, and I am the community organizer at Sustainable Contra Costa. And along with introducing everyone, I'm here to discuss this exciting initiative that is open to anyone who lives or works in Contra Costa County. So this challenge or platform is a free online site that anyone, again, working or living in the county can use. And it's a way that we can make climate action fun, simple, and social, and how you can take consistent action with your friends, colleagues, and neighbors. So before I describe it a bit more, I will first thank our partner cities and our sponsor. So Sustainable Contra Costa partners with the cities of Walnut Creek, San Pablo, and Antioch. And we're also funded by a generous grant from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. And all of these entities are working together to, again, make sure that Contra Costa is cleaner and safer for everyone in the long run. So as I mentioned earlier, the challenge is an online platform. And in my opinion, the challenge is really valuable because it allows us to gather data about how our actions, both as individuals and also in our communities, add up, and how those actions can have a really big impact in how we create change and also our impact on the earth. So one thing you may not know Tina did mention it earlier, but one thing, for example, I didn't know before I joined Sustainable Contra Costa is that 40% of our annual greenhouse gas emissions in the United States come from 5 basic household activities. And because so many emissions come from activities we do every day or every week, we have great power in how we adjust our habits and how we can reduce those emissions as well. So this is our platform here. You can find it at cleanercontracosta.org. And when you go to this site, you'll find this page here. And as you can see, we have some goals that we have set, but we are making good progress towards them. We have over 700 homes participating, and we've made progress towards our goal to reduce 500 tons of carbon dioxide. So as I go on, I'll explain more about the challenge and how you can participate with others. So the challenge works through 3 simple steps. First, you create your profile. Creating a profile is very quick and easy. It takes 5 to 10 minutes, and all you need to create a profile is a functioning email address, and again, living or working in Contra Costa County. In addition, if you'd like, you can create an energy profile. And an energy profile is just a set of questions that help us understand what you do right now, how you get around, how you use energy in your home, and how you use food and waste. And doing that, again, is optional, but when you do that, the platform gets a little bit of data, and that way it can tell you how much energy or how much water you'll save when you do an action. One great thing about the challenge is that all of your information is private to you. So other users and even administrators cannot see where you're living or what actions you have taken. That's all just private to you. The second item that the challenge is based on is taking actions. So the challenge has a number of actions, which I will showcase in a moment. And these actions have a large range. We have actions that are easy, like canceling your paper junk mail, or other actions such as maybe renting an electric vehicle. And finally, the third step is to work together. We know that as individuals, we want to take action, but our action can be compounded and it can be more consistent when we work together. You can create teams or community groups, and I'll explain those more later on. So again, here's a little sample of what our energy profile looks like. And again, this is highly recommended just because the platform gathers data to understand how much of an impact you can have when you change a habit. And so if you fill this out, your data will be more accurate. Another powerful item is that you can discover your starting impact. So personally, this is not my starting impact, but everyone would have a slightly different one. And you can also set a goal. For example, right here, it's at 2 tons, and that can be specific to you. And here again is the crux of the challenge. You can find actions right for your household. So regardless on how much you've done in the past, maybe like Tina, you've installed solar panels, or maybe you're just starting out learning about how you can replace your lawn, we have actions for you. So for example, we have a number of categories here. And one great thing about all of these actions is that the vast majority of them are either free or low cost. We also have a section where you can find actions if you are a renter. So for example, one of our actions is choose green electricity. And here you see a short summary of the action. You see the impact. And the great thing is that every action has step-by-step guides that help you learn about why this is important. And also, they give you tips about how to complete it. And finally, each action has custom resources. And these resources will be specific to your area. So that way you can find resources that will work for you. You can see here on the bottom right that we have a link to MCE's programs. So I'd highly encourage you to check out their website, but if you do create an account on the challenge, please go to the green electricity action and check it out more. And as I mentioned earlier, taking action can be easier when you are working with friends, right? And it's great for us to take action as individuals, but when we work with others, we can have an even bigger impact. So for example, you and 9 or fewer households can form a team together. And a team is just a smaller group that allows you to have a connection on the platform. You can see your households listed. And within a team, you can see all your points together as well as your actions. And this is a great option for smaller groups like book clubs. Maybe you have a running group or just a smaller group that you're part of. And the great thing is that when you're part of the team, you can see a little bit more about each other. You can see what actions others have completed, and you can also post to motivate your team members. And like I mentioned earlier, the challenge is powerful in that it has a huge range of actions that you can do. So for example, if you're on a budget, you can just start by turning stuff off in your home. For example, right now we're highlighting summer actions that are also budget friendly, like taking shorter showers or staying cool in the summer. So even if you've taken big actions in your own life, I find those step-by-step lists very helpful. Finally, we also have a category that's called hanging out at home. So those are perfect for if you're sheltering in place and you want to connect with others. The platform is a great way to build community, but also take action in your daily lives. So here at the bottom, you can see that we have a household goal. And this goal is to reduce 5,000 pounds of carbon dioxide in the first 6 months of participating. And that might seem kind of lofty, but when I go back to the Choose Green Electricity, you can see that it has a large point value, and that also translates to having a large impact on how many emissions you produce. So although we do need to advocate our representatives to have better and more comprehensive climate change policy, we can also make a big impact in our daily lives. So if you were to take a few actions, like choosing the green electricity, maybe turning stuff off, maybe eating lower down the carbon chain, that could be very attainable. And I encourage you to check out the platform to see how that is possible and see the data behind that. So as I mentioned earlier, the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge is very easy to use. And here are the basic steps. First, create an account. Second, join your team. This is a great opportunity to share the options of the challenge with others in your community. And it's a great way to stay active. Third, discover your impact. Four, create a plan and choose actions with your team. And finally, take action. It's very possible to just check out some of these actions. We have some actions that are just rating to learn a little bit more about the challenge and why the challenge is so useful and influential. Finally, I'd like to highlight the progress that we have made so far in Contra Costa County. So you can see at the top here that we do have some lofty goals, but we have made tremendous progress. First, I'd like to point out the tons of carbon dioxide we've saved. So in the lower left corner here, you can see that we've saved 191 tons of carbon dioxide. And yes, that's kind of hard to visualize, so I have an image for you. 1 ton of carbon dioxide would fill a moderate-sized ranch home. Now multiply that by 191, and that is how much carbon dioxide we've saved. So although we're starting at the individual levels, the San Francisco Bay Area is a leader in the California economy. And California, its economy is a leader in the world. So even though we start small, if we act locally and think globally, we can have a really big impact. You can also see that we've saved over 117,000 gallons of water and over $75,000. So we've completed a lot together. Finally, at the top, you can see that we have our top community group and our top team. So I know for a fact that both of those groups have been really active. And actually at the top, Sustainable Leaders in Action is our youth group at Sustainable Contra Costa. And our top team is from a local retirement community near Walnut Creek. So they are doing great work, and I'd highly encourage you to check out the platform and form either a group or a team like they did. Finally, I encourage you to sign up to join us. The platform, again, takes about 5 to 10 minutes to sign up, and it is completely free and your information is private. So I have a quick poll for you all, and I'd love to hear from you. I haven't asked for you. Will you go to cleanercontracosta.org this weekend and just take 5 minutes to explore the homepage? So please go ahead and vote if you'd like. And finally, if you create an account, will you check out the Choose Green Electricity Action and the MCE Deep Green resource?
Hey, Colleen, I have a comment. I just wanted to clarify that it actually takes less than a minute to sign in to set up your account, because you just put in your name and email address. But it takes 5 to 10-ish minutes to set up your energy profile.
Yes, that's correct. It is super quick. Thanks, Tina.
And also, I don't know if you mentioned, you may have, but in order to see those resources at the bottom of every action, which are, I think, really important, they're all local to where you live, you have to be signed in to see them. Otherwise, they won't be listed there.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the resources are really useful and they're tailored to where you live. So if you'd like to take advantage, please go ahead and use that energy profile. Okay, so here are the results of the poll here. Thank you so much for just being willing to check out some of the resources we shared tonight. We really appreciate your time and you choosing to learn with us tonight. But finally, here's our contact information for both Tina and myself if you'd like to get in contact with us. And you can also access the challenge at cleanercontracosta.org. So that is the end of our presentation tonight, but I'd like to highlight some of our upcoming events here at Sustainable Contra Costa. Next Wednesday at the same time, we're having a Bayren Home Upgrade Energy Efficiency Workshop. So we will share some of the same tips we did tonight, but we'll also focus on those specific rebates and credits you can receive from Bayren. So please tune in if you're interested. And then on...
Hey, Colleen, what they're going to hear on next Wednesday is you'll hear from some of the local contractors, so you can ask specific questions about and also see examples of from those contractors and homes that have gone through it. So it's a lot more detailed and have a chance to talk about the energy efficiency measures.
Thank you. Yes, so please feel free to join us if you're interested. We're also having an episode of our Sustainability Live Show on Wednesday, August 26th. And that episode is called Enhance Your Backyard Habitat with Natives. So we'll be talking about how you can increase property values and also create a hospitable habitat for local fauna in your backyard. Finally, Sustainable Contra Costa is hosting our 12th annual Sustainability Awards. This year it will be online on September 17th, but please feel free to join us. It's a free event. We're also hosting a SIP or shelter in place wine and dinner reception beforehand. So if you're interested, just find it all at sustainablecoco.org. Finally, I'd like to thank our representatives from MCE, Jennifer Green and Mariella Herrick. And thank you as well to Tina Neuhausel for being here tonight and sharing all the knowledge about your upgrades.
Thank you, Colleen, and thanks everybody for coming. Thanks, Jennifer, Maria.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.